Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. What happens when you enter the inner cave of the mind? What happens when you enter the inner cave of the mind? If you can see your body totally from inside, how from inside? You will recall the process of relaxing. You are focusing on each part of your body. Big toe is relaxing, and big toe is relaxed. You will begin to see from inside, because relaxation has to happen within, not outside. If you can see your body totally from inside, then you can never fall back into the illusion that you are the body. As such as you are the body, you are the mind. Then you will remain different, totally different, inside it, but not it. The body, in the body, but not the body. You will remain within, but you will not remain the body. This is the first part. Then you can move. You are free to move. Once freed from the body and freed from the identity of the body, you are free to move. Now you can move into the mind, deep down. There are 9 layers of the mind, and unconscious can also be entered into. Those 9 layers which are within and unconscious can also be entered into. This is the inner cave of the mind. If you enter the inner cave of the mind, you will become separate from the mind as well. Then you will see that mind is also an object which you can look at, and that which is entering the mind is again separate from the mind. This entering into the mind is what is meant by when the sutra says, see your inner being in detail. Body and mind both should be entered and looked at from within. And when this happens, you are simply a witness, and this witness cannot be penetrated. That is why it is your innermost core, witness, because witness cannot be penetrated. That is why it is the innermost core, that is you. That which can be penetrated, that which can be seen, is not you. When you have come to that which cannot be penetrated, means witness, that in which you cannot move, which cannot be observed, only then you come to the real self. You cannot witness the witnessing source. It is absurd. If someone says, I have witnessed the witness, that is absurd. Why it is absurd? Because if you have witnessed your witnessing self, then the witnessing self is not really the witnessing self. That who has witnessed, it is witness. That who can see, you are not. That which you can observe, you are not. That which you can become aware of, you are not. But a point comes beyond the mind where simply you are. Now you cannot divide your single existence into two, object and subject. Simply subjectivity is there, just witnessing. This is very, very difficult to comprehend through the intellect, because all categories of intellect are broken there. Because of this logical difficulty, sage Charvak, the expounder of one of the most logical philosophical systems in the world, says that you cannot know the self. There is no self-knowledge. And because there is no self-knowledge, how can you say that there is a self? Whatever you know is not self. Self cannot be known. The knower is the self. The knower is the self, not known. There are two things, one that knows and one that is to be known, the object and the subject. So you cannot say logically that I have known myself. That is absurd, illogical. How can you know yourself? Then who will be the knower and who will be the known? Knowledge means dichotomy too. It is a division between the object and subject. There is an object to be known and subject that knows it, the knower and the known. So Charvak says that all those who say that they have known self are talking nonsense. Self-knowledge is impossible because the self is the knower. It cannot be converted into the known. If you are the one, let us say in front of me there is a microphone. Microphone cannot claim that it has known itself. The laptop cannot claim that it has known itself. Laptop cannot say that it can operate itself. It has learned to operate itself. There has to be someone who can operate the laptop, who can operate the iPhone, iPad, and the microphone. So the subject cannot become the object. An object cannot become the subject. Charvak says that all those who say that they have known the self, which is the knower, how can you know the knower? Self-knowledge is impossible because self is irreducibly, it cannot be reduced, irreducibly the knower. It cannot be converted into the known. Then Charvak goes on to say that if you cannot know the self, how can you know there is self? Those like Charvak who do not Those like Charvak who do not believe in the presence of a self are called they say no self is, they say there is no self. That which cannot be known is not, and they are right logically. If logic is all, they are right. But this is the mystery of life. That logic is the only beginning, but it is not the end. Logic is the beginning, but not the end. A moment comes when logic comes to an end. Logic ends, you reach to the point where logic has no value, but you do not end. A moment comes when logic is finished, but you are still there. Life is illogical. That is why it is difficult to comprehend, to conceive of what is meant when it is said that only the witness remains. Let me take an example. If there is a lamp in the room, in the presence of lamp you see many objects around you. When the lamp is turned off, there is darkness and nothing can be seen. When the lamp is put on, there is light and you can see everything in the room. But have you ever observed what is happening? If there is no object, will you be able to see the lamp and its light? You will not be able to see its light, because to be seen, the light must reflect something. Light reflects on an object and brings, this is the way the eyes create the image. The light from your eyes, goes to the object and comes back. An image is formed in your eyes. If there is no object, will you be able to see the lamp and its light? Excuse me. You will not be able to see its light, because for light to be seen, it must reflect on something. It must strike on the object, make an image, just like camera. The light from the camera falls on the object and the things happen so instantaneously that you cannot see. The image comes back and is captured in the camera. Your eyes work like a camera. The light from the eyes, the aperture opens, the light goes and falls on the object, takes back the image of the eyes of the object and brings it back into your eyes, and your eyes confirm, yes, it is this. The rays must go to the object and then be reflected. Then they will reach to your eyes. So first you see the objects, then you infer that light is there. When you burn a lamp or a candle, you never see light first. First you see the object, and because of the object you come to know about the lights. Scientists say if there is no object, then light cannot be seen. Look at the sky. It looks blue, but it is not blue. It is filled with cosmic rays. It looks blue because there is no object. Those rays cannot reflect and come to your eyes. If you go into space and there is no object, then there will be darkness. Of course, rays will be passing just by your side, but there will be darkness. To know light, some object has to be there. Charvak says that if you enter within and come to the point where only the witness has remained, then there is nothing to be witnessed. How can you know about it? Some object must be there to be witnessed. Only then you can know witnessing. Logically, scientifically, it is right, but existentially, it is not. Those who really move inside come to a point where there is no object left but just consciousness of the being. You are, but nothing is there to be seen. Only the seer is there. Only the seer. This is simply subjectively without any object around it. This is your subjectivity when there is no object around it. The moment you come to this point, you have entered your ultimate goal of being. You have entered the cave. You can call it Alpha, the beginning, or you can call it Omega, the end. It is both Alpha and Omega, and it is called self-knowledge. Linguistically, the word is wrong because linguistically nothing can be said about it. Only language becomes meaningless when you enter the world of the One. Language is meaningful only when you are in the world of the two, in the duality. Then language becomes useful. When there is oneness, the language becomes useless. That's why the silence is the language of the ultimate. In the world of duality, language is meaningful because language is created in is the part of the linguistic world. It becomes meaningless when you enter the One, the non-dual. That is why those who have known, they have become silent. Or even if they say something, they hurriedly add that whatsoever they are saying is just symbolic. And whatsoever they are saying is not exactly true, it is false. It is symbolic. Lao Tse says that which can be said is not true. And that which is true cannot be said. He remained silent for most of his life. He would not write anything. He said, if I say something, it will be untrue, because nothing can be said about the realm where only One remains. Eyes closed, see your inner being in detail, both body and mind. Thus see your true nature. See your body and mind, your structure, and remember body and mind are not two things. Rather, you are both. It is better to say body-mind. Mind is the inner part of the body and body is the outer part of the mind. So if you can become aware of the structure of the body-mind, you can become conscious of the structure. If you can become aware of the body-mind, if you can become conscious of the structure, you are freed from the structure. You are freed from the vehicle. You have become different. And this knowing that you are separate from the structure, you are not the body, you are not the mind, is your true nature. That is what you really are. The body will die, but the mind will also die. But the true nature never dies. This mind will die and change and die again and again, but the true nature never dies. The true nature is eternal. Do not say that I know it is soul. I know you do not know. You have not experienced it. You have simply heard about it. To hear about it and to know from within are two different things. The eyes, which were always looking outside, will turn in and you will have a glimpse inside. Then there is no difficulty. Once you have the glimpse, you have glimpsed within, inside, you know what to do and how to move. Only the first glimpse is difficult. After that, you get the knack of it. Then it becomes just like a trick. Any moment you can close your eyes. Your eyes become static. Eyes do not move, and you can enter the realm. That is why when you look at the eyes of the Master, they are almost static. They are not moving. Buddha was dying. It was the last day of his life, and he asked his disciple if they wanted to ask anything, any question. They were weeping, crying, and they said, "You have told us so much. Now nothing is left to ask." Buddha had a habit of asking thrice. He would never stop after asking once. He would ask again, and then he would ask still again whether you have any question to ask. Many times Buddha was asked, "Why do you ask a single thing 3 times?" He said, "Because man is so unaware, so unconscious, he may not have heard in the first place. He may have missed in the second." Thrice he asked, and thrice his monks, his disciples said, "Now we do not want to ask anything. You have said so much." Then he closed his eyes and said, "If you do not have anything to ask before death occurs to the body, I will move from it. Before death enters the body, I will move from it." He closed his eyes. His eyes became static and started moving. He said that there were 4 parts of his movement inwards. First, he closed his eyes. Secondly, his eyes became static. There was no movement. If you had done the instrument of recording, REM, the graph would not have come. the eyes become static. That was the second thing. Thirdly, he looked at his body. Then fourthly, he looked at his mind. This was the whole journey, transcendence. Before death occurred, he was back at his center, in his original source. That is why this death is not called, Buddha's death is not called death, it is called nirvana. And there is a difference between death and nirvana. We call it nirvana, cessation, conscious cessation, not death. Ordinarily we die because death occurs to us. It never occurred to Buddha. Before death came, he had already returned to his source. Death means you are returning to the source. When Buddha had returned to his source, to his origin, then it is not the death, it is cessation, it is called nirvana. Death occurs only to the body. He was not there to be found in the body. So in Buddhist tradition, it is said that he never died. Death could not catch him. It followed as it follows him, everyone. But he could not be trapped. He tricked death out of it. He must have been laughing, standing behind the death. This technique is the same. Make 4 parts of this movement. What are the 4 parts? First, close your eyes. Second, in closing the eyes become static. There is no movement. Eyes become static. That was the second thing. Third, now you look at your body. Then the fourth, looking at the mind. This technique is a 4-fold. First, close your eyes. Let the eyes become static. Then you look at the body. Then you look at the mind. Make 4 parts of it and move. And when you know one glimpse, the whole thing will become very easy and simple. Then any moment you can move in and come out, and go in and come out, just like coming out of your house and going in at your own free will, coming and going out. Look upon this is the first sutra. The first sutra was close your eyes, see your inner being in detail, body and mind both, thus see your true nature. This is 4 steps. The first step, close your eyes. Second, let the eyes become static. When the eyes have become static, it is not moving. You're looking at the body from inside. And looking at the mind inside, you are freed. The body becomes like a house where you can enter and exit at your own free will. This is what Buddha did. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.